What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be watching a video from Aussie Antics about has Fortnite killed controller. I assume he's going to be talking about like the different changes controller has went through and the different nerfs Fortnite has made to it. Recently, they did actually buff and improve aim assist, but that was the first time in quite a while that they actually did an update to benefit controller players. And I assume this video was like in the works and mostly made prior to that update. If you're a controller player, let me know down in the comments below if you think Fortnite has killed controller, and if you enjoy this, give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and make sure you sub to Aussie as well. His content is mainly geared towards competitive, so I think this is going to focus more on controller players in a competitive setting. And it is true, over the years controller has been less successful in the recent chapters, but as far as like playing the game public matches go, which is what most of my audience does, I feel like controller is still, you know, very decent and very viable. Certainly not at its peak, but yeah.
Controller players once dominated Fortnite.
Holy. You're joking.
Chapter 2 was peak controller.
Now, almost none remain. But what happened? And is there any hope for the future of controller players? Controller versus keyboard and mouse has been a debate in gaming since before Fortnite was even created. Many games originally not even offering support for both.
Yeah, the way Fortnite, I mean, and it's not just Fortnite, it's like a lot of games now, the way crossplay is such a thing between PC and console, and that kind of makes controller and keyboard play against each other more. I get why they did it, but I definitely enjoyed gaming more before forced crossplay.
However, in Fortnite,
and it's just console v console.
Since the very beginning, it has always been a battle between the two inputs.
I think you just end up in a situation where neither is ever going to be happy with the presence of the other.
Battle the controller is definitely losing.
Controller players in Fortnite have got nerfed so bad. It's so good right now where it's like controller players don't matter. Like,
it's good that it got nerfed because he doesn't have to get aimbotted.
Controller players, keyboard players are so much better than controller players now. It's insane.
In the early days of Fortnite, both inputs were actually quite equal, with most
They weren't really playing against each other though.
Players unable to even build basic structures. The majority of fights came down to who could hit more shots. Building was limited to trying to get up a slight hill or find a chest at the top of a building. When looking at many of the notable faces in early Fortnite like Ninja, Myth, and Daquan, it's easy to think mouse and keyboard was already on top. However, one of the original kill records.
I feel like it's hard to compare though because they weren't playing against each other. Like it's not necessarily that keyboard was on top because most PC players were playing on keyboard and most controller players were playing on console at the time.
Was actually held by Nick Merckx, a 54 kill squad game in December of 2017.
Wait, what?
The original kill record, Myth, and Daquan, it's easy to think mouse and keyboard was already on top. However, one of the original kill records was actually held by Nick Merckx, a 54 kill squad game in December of 2017.
But it doesn't do anything to prove. That doesn't do anything to prove like controller versus keyboard because this was on console. Like he's playing on PS4, I'm pretty sure, against other PS4 players. Crossplay wasn't a thing yet, I'm pretty sure. And so like I think people would say that like this was because console lobbies were easier and that's why they were able to get the kill record.
Where exactly? Right behind the tree,
Hit one.
Dead, let's go.
I'm building.
I'm just going
I don't even think there's first shot accuracy.
That's one.
Gage, play careful. Gage, play careful. Watch over the whole fight.
Top hill.
Dot, dead. Let's get bottom left.
That's nice shot.
Not, Gage, not. Full kill that guy. Oh, baby. Shots. Let's go, baby. Come on.
There's no AI back then, by the way. These are all real players. This was so whack. Part of why building was so terrible early on was like people weren't used to it. The settings weren't there to allow people to build that well. But also there were so many places where you couldn't build. So look, when he gets up to these trees, it's not going to let him build because the tree is there. See, it says no. And there was just so many random places like this where you couldn't build. It was so tilting.
With aim assist being quite strong in early Fortnite and building and editing not yet being very common, the playing field was quite even. On top of this, in January of 2018, Fortnite enabled Builder Pro settings for controller.
So, yes, but this still didn't compete with keyboard building because there was no Builder Pro instant place. There was like a weird delay when you went to build with Builder Pro that was kind of limiting. There was even people that continued to play on Combat Pro because you could place the builds actually faster that way if you were like very good at it. I think Builder Pro instant place came in Season 6, and then that was like a huge improvement to Builder Pro. I switched right away to Builder Pro, but it definitely had its like drawbacks because of that delay.
This meant instead of having to press a button to open the build settings and then slowly scroll through each option,
that was an
controller
improvement
players
for
could
sure.
select custom binds to go straight to each build piece. This would make building much quicker and definitely help to even the overall playing field. In regular games, however, controller players began to struggle with the addition of crossplay in September of 2018.
So the competitive rules were always crossplay, but the way crossplay was initially added was Xbox and PlayStation played against each other. I think Switch and mobile played against each other just naturally, and then PC was PC. And if you wanted to party up with anybody outside your bracket, then you played on PC servers. So if you're on Xbox and your friend is on PS4, y'all are playing console lobbies. But if you're on Xbox and your friend is playing on PC, then you're playing PC lobbies. And I feel like that was just the best way to do crossplay, where it's just, you can use it to play with people on other platforms, but it doesn't just like make everybody the same bracket. When they added skill-based matchmaking, that's when they made crossplay just forced for all platforms.
For the first time, console players who were mainly on controller now had to go into lobbies against PC players who are predominantly on mouse and keyboard. Not only this, it was at this time popular content creator Upshaw discovered that aim assist was actually stronger the higher your FPS.
This was crazy. So aim assist strength used to be tied to frame rate. So your higher the frame rate you had, the stronger aim assist you had. I never experienced this because I was playing on console at the time. And by the time I switched to PC, they fixed this. And then now the way it is console actually has stronger aim assist than controller on PC.
Yes.
I've got a good computer. We're playing on low settings, so we should be hitting that no problem. Here's my buddy over here. So you can see the aim assist snap-on occurs really far away. So when I'm like about a couple feet away.
And then this was also the old aim assist where you would trigger the aim assist by aiming in. And then that's why L2 spamming became a thing where you would just kind of aim near the opponent and then spam your aim down sight button continuously and like constantly relock onto them. This is not how it works anymore.
I guess that right into his head. We just
and this looks really OP, but there was like basically no hip fire aim assist with these old settings.
On L2.
It was just this ADS
now, see
spam.
what happens when I turn it all the way down to 30 FPS. So we're still the same distance away, but one tap does not drive me into his head at all. So like I'm missing drastically there. I know the game looks awful and it's slowing it down, but your input is literally not dragging it the same distance. And I'm just gonna test it out on 60 FPS as well to like emulate most console gameplay. So yeah, you can see it. It's still not snapping right onto the head. You almost really need to slam the L2 trigger to get it to work.
So for PC controller players, the battle with keyboard and mouse was actually quite even. With stronger aim assist, higher frame rate, and less input delay, we saw the rise of many controller pros like Nick Merckx, Issa, Ghost Aiden, FaZe Sway, and many more. Keyboard pros still dominated most of the early tournaments, but there were a number of controller pros still holding their own and even taking home some titles. It was in April of 2019 when it was time to truly see which input was best during the World
I think very few people qualled. I know Aiden was one. I think it was Aiden and one other person.
Cup qualifiers, an open tournament where anyone over the age of 13 could compete. This would be the first true battle of the inputs.
White, he's white.
But it was controller did not do well at all here.
Hit him 30 white again. Hit him another 30. Dead. Careful.
Over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knocked one.
Low.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish.
Easy minis. Got him.
to 191.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna get them both. Keep landing here, kids, please.
The ballers.
It is fair to say Keyboard and Mouse once again absolutely dominated. After 10 weeks of qualifiers, only 7 of the 100 players in solos and 2 of the 100 players
I was thinking of duos.
in duos were on controller.
I think Aiden qualified for both. I think Aiden was like the only controller player or one of the only controller players to qual for solos and duos.
That means less than 5% of the players
But
at
I don't
World
think any
Cup
placed
were
well.
on controller.
Or,
It
like,
is
super
worth
well.
pointing out Wolfies did manage to place second alongside
Oh,
Row.
never mind. For duos, a controller player got second.
Proving it was possible for controller to hold up against the best of the best. However, in solos, Leshy's
I wish it would show.
31st was the best they could manage.
I'm pretty sure Epic Whale got third in the World Cup solos playing on keyboard, which is going to matter later on.
Showing that
Probably.
overall, Keyboard and Mouse was still very much on top. With the launch of Chapter 2 in October of 2019, Fortnite Battle Royale had now been out for over 2 years. In that time, many controller players had made a name for themselves, but it never truly felt like they were taking over. That, however, was about to change.
Yeah, this was
We were
peak
about to
controller.
head into an unknown era.
So this is still with the old L2 spam settings, but after this season is when things get crazy for controller. But he was dominating this season on controller. But I think he also like understood a lot of like piece control better than like a lot of people at the time. Like he was ahead on that. In addition to just having like very good aim. But it's not like the only reason he was placing well is because of controller. I think he even did well on keyboard.
Bro, stay on God, there's one duo. I'm sorry, little brother, you know you can't win his shit like a knockout. I punch my tip, but I aim at his chin, so we in the back of the back. Last name real shit, so you know I get drunk.
That's why control players should be put in their own tournament, separate tournament. They should not be in games with clubs. Hello?
Like, what are you doing, buddy?
Oh god.
For the first time ever, a controller player completely took over the competitive scene. Unknown truly felt unstoppable, winning 6 solo cash cows before even taking home the FNCS title in squads. He was so dominant he even swapped to mouse and keyboard here and there because he got bored of winning. Just to try and prove he could do both, Unknown Army would be controller players' champion, but also potentially their downfall. His clips of absolutely inhuman aim were starting to gather a lot of attention, and many people were demanding that aim assist be nerfed. After years of controller play,
So I think during Chapter 2 Season 1 is when they added the new controller settings, and so you could play on legacy controller settings, which was like the L2 spam stuff, or you could switch to the new ones. They end up removing legacy down the line, but I actually switched to linear, which was the new settings. I switched to that before they removed legacy because I thought it was better for building, and also the hipfire aim assist on the new settings was like crazy. And that's why I said like the old settings had like no hipfire aim assist. The new ones having like godlike hipfire aim assist is the most overpowered like aim assist I've ever played with in a game. Like Chapter 2 Season 2, late Chapter 2 Season 1, the hipfire aim assist was crazy. And that combined with like the Midas drum gun or the pump was just very, very, very good. So that is why I switched before they even removed legacy.
is being dominated. As soon as the tables turned, people were not happy. Epic responded to these complaints and removed legacy controller settings.
So yeah, this is March 2020. Chapter 2 Season 2 started in February of 2020.
Altogether. After years of L2 spamming and insane shots, controller players were forced to make a choice between linear and exponential settings. This divided the controller player base, with there still being debates to this day on which is better. While most of the controller players were arguing and the keyboard and mouse players thought they'd won, little did they know that things were about to get a lot worse for them.
It was actually insane. And the reason why I said Epic Whale getting third at World Cup matters is he got third at World Cup on keyboard and then ended up switching to controller during this time, and I think won an FNCS on controller because aim assist was that overpowered that you had like top tier keyboard players switching.
Knock one? Oh my god, it's triple duped him.
Like, this was crazy.
Bro, I just triple duped that kid.
26 3 times and the kid in the back. 55 bro. Bro, chat. My aim is on something right now. No, there's no way.
Yeah, see this epic well. Playing on controller.
Wow, flip that. Oh my god. Got rolled.
I think he won an FNCS on it.
Like, he's doing absolutely nothing but running in my mouth.
Yeah, like, it's just so easy.
Oh my gosh.
Epic had actually somehow managed to make controller players even better. With these new settings, controller didn't just have one champion, but many. We would enter an era where controller for the first time in the history of Fortnite was actually the dominant input. FNCS after FNCS.
So this is later down the line. I don't know when Booga and Mero started playing.
Was actually the dominant input. FNCS.
This is like end of chapter 2. I think. Late chapter 2.
After FNCS would be won by controller players. Some of the best keyboard and mouse pros in the world even swapping to try and take advantage of the new aim assist. Epic Whale and Arkram going on to win FNCS within one season of swapping to controller. This wasn't only happening at the top level either. All the way down to little Timmy on his console, controller players were taking over. You couldn't go a single day without seeing a post from pros demanding that Fortnite nerf aim assist.
So they would call us controller players cheaters. And so it became a meme that controller players would put cheater in their name. Like, instead of EvolveJake, my name would be cheater Jake. And there was so many people doing this that Epic made a rule about it. Because like they would spectate the tournaments and then half the people just had like cheater in their name.
Oh my god! He has aimbot!
But yeah, it was very controversial.
Picture this. They have aimbot. There's nothing that's stopping them from qualifying anyways. They're dominating every person in their sites. There's no stopping them. It takes no skill. They're cheating at the game and they still don't place in actual tournaments. And they suck and shouldn't be allowed to be a PC player. So imagine that.
I think Booga is salty. He goes, Booga's gonna go play with a controller player and win several FNCS though.
Epic Games, hearing all these complaints, tried yet again to nerf controller. This time, however, they were successful. Rather than changing entire settings, they would simply launch multiple nerfs targeted directly.
Yeah, they nerfed aim assist several times. Okay, see this bug? This is when they fixed the FPS thing. Aim assist change, which makes 240 hertz aim assist act like 60 hertz aim assist. So like that wasn't even a theory that was a bug or whatever. They acknowledged it and fixed it.
At aim assist, reducing its overall strength and ability.
But they nerfed it several times over the course of chapter 2, and then I think what really killed it was the launch of chapter 3.
To track players. To make things even worse, it was around this time one of the biggest advantages of controller would be shared with keyboard. Double movement.
You see this thingy on my caps lock in A? This is like a, okay, it's like plastic and I duct tape to it on caps lock in A. Ghetto ass double movement? Nah, it works though. It depends on the actuation of your keyboard also though. If
I don't
you have
understand
like a really
this.
like stiff keyboard with like hard keys, like it's not gonna work. So you cannot move normally. I can, look. I'm just not pressing it down hard.
Basically, the double movement binds, I think, are a way to emulate controller movement, or like to have more diagonal movement on keyboard rather than just WASD. Because like at the time, another advantage of controller was that you can move in every direction because of the way like analog stick movement works versus WASD. But once people, I don't know if people found out how to make double movement binds or Epic put it in the game or what, but that was like an improvement for keyboard players' movement.
Hard right now, and now I'm pressing it down hard.
Put simply, when moving on a keyboard, you can only go in 6 directions.
Okay,
forwards, backwards, sideways, and diagonally. On top of this, keyboard and mouse lack the ability to run at full speed in one direction while facing another. This, combined with a 360-degree movement offered only by a joystick, was one of the main strengths playing on controller offered. After much pressure from the community, Fortnite allowed the use of external software that would allow players to achieve these settings on keyboard and mouse, giving a huge buff to their overall movement. This would mark the end of controller's reign at the top. Since these changes at the end of 2021, we would see
End of 2021. Okay, yeah, that was the end of chapter 2. I guess he's not going to talk about it. This video is over. So, controller was still relevant in chapter 4. This LAN was won by Mero. I think. Is this...
Fewer controller players qualify to grand finals, with only a handful ever predicted to
I don't know if this is chapter 4
do
LAN.
well. Players like Mero...
Okay, yeah. So the end of chapter 4, a controller player won the LAN, which is like the big event of the year. Every pro player is playing FNCS to qual for the LAN at the end of the year and like perform well on LAN. Like that's what people care most about. This is the highest level of competition, and a controller player won it. So controller was still relevant, but not as dominant as it was like early chapter 2. Like the peak of controller is definitely in the past, but controller is still relevant. I think what really killed it was not only the nerfs and not only PC getting double movement or keyboard getting double movement, but end of chapter 2 going into chapter 3, I feel like they hard nerfed aim assist. And then this is also when they started, I believe, when they started making different weapons have different aim assist values. And ever since they did that, it has just been so annoying to be a controller player because like certainly, like randomly certain guns will not have aim assist. Like the Sentinel Pump at the start of chapter 6 had none, and it took them like months to fix it. The Striker Burst in chapter 5 had none. I believe the Combat AR in chapter 5 had like none. Like there will just be randomly guns that have way less aim assist or no aim assist at all, and Epic usually aren't on top of fixing it. And then I feel like for whatever reason, I don't know why, but like chapter 3 onward is when there started to be other like random aim assist bugs where you would just randomly lose aim assist as a result of whatever thing. And that has never felt the same to me from chapter 3 onward. Like I feel like I can't play an entire match and just like have my game feel the same in every fight since that change happened.
Reed and Teeny would keep the dreams
like there's
of
always
controller
bugs.
players alive, but it's fair to say they have well and truly lost the battle. But is it over? Is there any hope for controller players? Throughout 2024, Epic made multiple changes to aim assist with the addition of human-like aim assist.
This didn't change too many things for me. Like I remember this came out and I didn't even notice a difference on the day.
This, however, only made things worse, with controller players reporting at times their aim assist completely turns off.
I feel like I've been experiencing that since chapter 3, where it just randomly turns off. And then they did recently buff it as well, but like I said, I think this video was probably made before that.
Whether this is a bug or intended is unknown, but it appears Fortnite has given up on trying to help controller players. Or have they? In June of 2025, Fortnite gave the first proper buff to controller in years, improving the strength of aim assist while ADSing by 50% and while hip firing by 25%.
I think this was very noticeable, and I think it was, you know, good. Obviously, I'm biased, I'm a controller player, but I would rather them fix the bugs than adjust the strength. Like, the strength is good and all, and that's nice, but there's still times where it just feels non-existent, or it feels like it goes away, or who knows what's going on with the game, but it feels incredibly just... My sensitivity doesn't feel consistent fight to fight as a controller player. And they can buff the strength of aim assist all they want, but like, I would rather have weaker aim assist and just have the game feel the same at all times than have stronger aim assist that just like randomly disappears. And even with this buff, like it still just feels like it randomly disappears sometimes. But yeah, that is going to be it for this video. I think controllers, like I said, I think the peak is in the past. But my main thing I feel like that really ruined controller is just the consistency problem and the bugs with aim assist, more so than just the strength of it. But his Aussie's channel will be linked down in the description below. If you enjoy competitive Fortnite, he's the GOAT as far as, you know, competitive Fortnite content goes. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, sub if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.